And we're back with another episode of... that pause. We shouldn't even put the theme song there.
I was confused for a second.
Like, leave the dramatic pause.
We'll just just randomly the theme song will just cut us off mid.
Two Idahoan potato farmers!
Sentence, right?
Yeah,
It'll be like a sneak attack theme song now.
Yes, I like that. And this one...
All right.
That was another dramatic pause.
Yeah, the theme song's going to come in right there, too. We'll play it twice this time. This is a very special episode, because this is the first episode of Two Idahoan Potato Farmers where we're in different cities. I'm in Yellowknife.
Yep.
Steven's in Weyburn, and we've been trying like fiends to figure out a way to get this to work properly. It's very complicated and technical how we figured it out, but I won't bore you guys with those details.
We each have microphones.
And we're talking on landlines.
It's actually super easy to figure out.
Very technical.
But it took us 3 weeks, at least.
Updates right now. I am only half a pathetic loser. I have a job now. So the full-time Matthew bashing in each episode is now cut in half.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess Jeremy's not here, so.
No, but even when it was just me and you, we usually spent a little section destroying my
So really,
livelihood.
it's just you've got self-confidence now, so you won't bash yourself for at least one episode.
It'll probably
half an episode.
Yeah, we'll go not one episode, half an episode. That sounds fine. So
Okay.
I have till 22 and a half minutes. After that, it's fair game. It's open season again, Stephen.
Perfect. Can't wait.
All right. Other than that,
Let's get started then.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go to the pitch.
The pitch.
I don't know. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
You can go first if you want.
All right, I'm gonna start. These are all bad. I have 4 actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with the worst one, and
Okay.
I don't even have it. Usually, whatever. So it takes place in Berlin. This is awful already. I'm just embarrassed before I even said it. It takes place in Berlin, and high winds are picking up, and it looks like a tornado is gonna hit. So Berlin is super windy, and it's called Airy in Germany. So there's no.
I don't know how that's a movie.
No, there's no movie there. I just wanted to say it.
It was just watching a German weather station.
That'd be great. Oh yeah, I'm taking it to them. I'm going to the Berlin weather station. They have a sense of humor about this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So why don't we move on from that one and let you do one?
Okay, I'll start with what I think is the worst one I have for today. So this married couple, or I guess they don't even have to be married. It's just a man and a woman. One's like, and they're both like sexist, right? And they get into some sort of scuffle, and they get into like one of those people's court things, like Judge Judy.
Yes, Judge Joe Brown.
The judge decides to sentence them to have to learn about each other, like men and women, by forcing them to work together in an ice cream truck.
God.
And it's called I Scream, You Scream, We All Scream for Gender Equality.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
Yeah, I told you.
I'm not gonna say it's worse than Aryan Germany, but it's probably only one step above.
Well, at least it could be a movie, even if it's a terrible movie.
Yeah, I guess.
Longer than 5 minutes.
This one is also really bad. It's about a 52-year-old woman who gets divorced, and she decides to re-enter the dating scene, and she hasn't been single since she met her husband like 30 years before. So it's a whole new world for her. It's called 52 Pickup.
That's not
I just
bad.
dropped the microphone right there. That's how proud I was of that one. I was ready. I dropped the microphone. I was 2 steps out the door before I realized we had to keep recording.
Well, moving on. Okay. This one is, I don't know. So this nerdy kind of guy who builds robots is hears on the news that the population of dogs in the world is going down, and it's like getting close to extinction. So let's say this is in the future sometime,
Okay.
and so he's hell bent on making a robot that is just for companionship. It doesn't really do anything for you. It's more of just a companion, and it's called Man's Next Friend.
Okay. The future is now, Stephen. All right,
Aryan Germany.
It's moving on. Oh God, none of these are movies. None of these. Mine is. It's a group of lions are stuck on a raft on the river, headed towards a waterfall, and they must find a way off. It's called Pride Comes Before the Fall. So none of these are movies.
It just reminds me of like that would just be like that Unstoppable movie with Denzel Washington and Chris Pine.
Oh, there we go. So
they're just like it's like a
they
train crash.
They can voice
movie.
the lions. That's fine with me. They could voice the lions.
Yeah. Oh God, that might be the one we choose.
We should We should just take all the audio from Unstoppable and animate lions and just take all the dialogue. And whenever they say the word train, we say raft. And
raft.
Yeah. I call Denzel Washington.
We only recorded the word raft once too, so it's the same
Yeah.
same tone and emphasis.
We'll just do the Stephen Hawking voiceover thing.
Raft.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
No, I was going to try, and then I was like, oh, this is going to sound awful. So kudos to you for really going for it, Stephen.
Okay, well, this one...
A man who's not afraid of failure.
Oh, definitely not. Since I made up all of these in the 20 minutes before we started recording.
I spent hours writing mine, so who's the bigger loser here?
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, so this one... This older woman. Okay, you're gonna hate me.
I do already. So there's nowhere to go from here.
Okay, if people were listening, they would also hate me. An older woman goes to the craft store and she's buying yarn, and when she gets home, she realized she bought way too much yarn, but didn't realize it. So she comes up with a new project where she's just gonna knit an entire person, like just like a big doll, out of all this extra yarn she has. And then the yarn person comes to life, and she immediately realizes she has dementia. And it's called You've Got to Be Knitting Me.
Oh God. I'm embarrassed, but I legitimately laughed at that one.
Oh man.
I'm like not against that one, actually.
Yeah, I know. That's what I kind of want to do.
I'm actually not against that at all. Okay, I'll do one more then.
Okay.
Because this is never going to get picked, so we may as well use it up now. It's
All right.
another one-off joke. It's about a ship that starts to go horribly off course, but the onboard computer automatically fixes it and writes the path. It's called This Ship Writes Itself.
Oh.
I'm going down with that ship, Steven.
You've got to be knitting me, Matt. Oh man.
We're gonna have a real yarn writing this one.
Oh god.
Let's quit. Let's make this the first podcast that never made it to the movie.
We just stop.
The theme song just, again, sneak attack, it ends.
See,
so, man, I hate to say it, because Aryan Germany, oh man, that's it. Okay, no, we're picking this, You Gotta Be Knitting Me, but Into the Storm 2, Aryan Germany. Boom. It works. I'm calling the studios right now. They already made the first one. They'll make the second one. Done.
Produced by the German Weather Network. So it's really terrible quality. They just got the guy who like films outside of the town hall, whatever, for the stock footage or whatever to film it.
Works for me. Works for me. As long as I get a cut, a piece of that pie. I can
A
live
piece
with
of that German chocolate pie.
Ooh, all right.
Okay, I've already got an idea for You've Got to Be Knitting Me.
Okay.
It's
first,
just I don't. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
we should probably pick director first.
Okay. Yeah, we can pick
is
the
this
director.
okay? Is this going to be like a kids kind of comedy kind of style, or like a terrifying like Harvey with?
Okay.
Jimmy
Well,
Stewart?
this might help you with that decision because I already know who should play one of the characters.
Okay.
We're gonna have Michael Keaton play the yarn guy.
I love it. I love it.
Because I just picture like old Michael Keaton movies. And
I picture him kind of like moving around like Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. He's kind of like loose and kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got kind of a kind of graceful poise, but his arms kind of move around, kind of flopping around, kind of.
And then they go on a trip to Germany, and it just happens to be windy.
All right, so that's
and
that's
he gets
gonna
blown
be
away.
Just so we can use Aryan Germany. That's gonna be it. That's gonna segue. It's gonna be 2 movies in one. The final scene is he's always wanted to go to Germany, and he goes there just as the wind picks up, and then it just segues into the storm to Aryan Germany, and it's a 4.5-hour movie.
Oh god. Just like the Stallone one me and Jeremy did.
Oh yeah, of course. Yep.
7-hour movie.
But in my movie, even though it's only one movie, you have to pay 2 movie ticket prices. You have to buy 2 movie tickets to see it when you show up.
It's more so not about that it costs that much. It's just they want you to be twice as angry that you watched it.
Well, yeah, they'd be mad enough at having to watch these 2 stories, and then even pissed that they had to pay 2 tickets. Like, we're really gonna stick it to the everyday consumers, even
God,
those fat cats.
Okay, so who's now directing this movie?
Ooh.
Rob Reiner, maybe?
Let's just say Rob Reiner.
Okay, Rob Reiner's directing You've Got to Be Knitting Me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So it can have, some weird elements, but can also be kind of fun and happy, all over you really run the gamut, right?
Okay, Rob Reiner works. We just had some technical difficulties. And it was awesome. But hopefully, thanks to technology and the advancements thereof, we can make it sound as smooth as possible.
Yeah. All right, Rob Reiner. So we have Michael Keaton. We have Rob Reiner.
It's gold already.
How does this movie start? First act right here. How does it start?
A yarn ball unraveling.
And does it fall through the house? Is that what happens? It follows.
It sounds like rolls down the stairs or something.
That's what I was going to say. It starts upstairs, rolls down, bounces all the way down the stairs, and then it's an old lady who knits.
Yeah, it's an old lady picks it up.
So then,
who's the old lady?
Yeah, it rolls
Betty
to the old
White.
lady. That's just Betty White. All right. She does need. So we'll make this a TV movie, the first of 2 Idahoan potato farmers, and it'll take place, or it won't be filmed. God, I hope she's alive. Till 2020. Yes, I believe Betty White has had an Emmy nomination in every decade since like the 1960s.
Well, she might live to 100.
Let's hope so. So this TV movie planned for 6 years from now, she'll get the Emmy nomination for Best Actress in a TV movie.
Perfect.
There, we've really keeping her career going. It's set in stone.
I don't
She
know
has
if
to
your
live now.
career is still going if this is the movie you're doing.
Yeah, well, hopefully her career is taking another slump and she just has to take it at that point.
Okay, so the first thing we see is a yarn ball rolling down and unraveling on the stairs, kind of
Yeah.
foreshadowing her fall into dementia or Alzheimer's, whatever you want to call it. So it can have that TV movie kind of heartwarming, but like sad.
Yeah, well,
Kinda.
you see like her just sitting alone, right? She's just sad and,
She's
just
got her
sitting in her living
cats.
room like most, senior citizens. Their family doesn't visit them anymore.
Right. Or like she's so old, she's outlived the rest of her family.
Too damn old.
Just too damn old.
How could I not say it? How could I? All right, so she's outlived. Let's say she outlived her family too. Let's make this super sad.
She has pictures of like we see like a panning shot of the pictures of her family on the wall, and then it goes further and it's pictures of her family's graves on the wall. Just the gravestones and her crying at each grave.
But next to her, should be a picture of herself and then a tombstone next to it, and it'll say "when" on it.
When? Or we could
when will they finally take me? Right?
Or,
She's just praying for death at this point.
or she could be like, it could do a time lapse as an opening shot where she's standing as pretty young, and it's just like one of those fast time lapse, and she keeps getting older, and all the family that's standing around her at this funeral keep disappearing as she gets older,
Yeah.
and she's the only one left standing.
Okay,
then-
all right, I'm fine with that. So we have two startings, like almost every other movie. We have a ball of yarn coming down, and now a time lapse.
Yes, exactly.
It wouldn't be a two Idahoan potato farmer movie if there wasn't
Without-
at least two startings.
At least.
So third starting here.
Okay.
No, we're not doing that. This is done.
Sylvester
All right.
Stallone comes in. No.
Yeah, and Arnold Schwarzenegger as usual.
Okay, so she's
She
got to
was-
go to the store to get the yarn.
So
Right.
now we have what? I don't know where this is going at all.
No,
All right.
I'm just trying to move it forward from the starting.
All right, so here we go. So she goes to the craft store.
Yeah,
And
just a
she's
regular day.
like, I would
Regular day.
like a ball of yarn, please. And they go, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any yarn today. You're out of luck." And she's like, "Oh, just my luck, right?" And then so she leaves and she sees a magic store. Like, Are You Afraid of the Dark with Sardo. No Mr. accent on the dough. And so she goes inside and she sees a ball of yarn in there. And she's like, "Oh, perfect, right?" So
Okay.
Sardo is like, "All right, just like
Oh,
usual,
see,
he doesn't know there's actual magical, capabilities to this yarn. He just thinks he's selling whatever. Every time he sells something, he always thinks it's a scam, and then it ends up being real, like the X-ray specs and everything.
right.
So he
But
makes up
then the
this,
twist in this movie could totally be that it really is a scam, and she is actually just falling into dementia.
All right, either it's dementia. Oh, it should be mixed. One half dementia, but the other half is Sardo is you like moving this pup or knitted man like a marionette around her house, and she just thinks.
Okay.
Oh God.
Can Michael Keaton play the janitor in Sardo's shop?
Oh, so he's gonna get magically transformed?
I don't know. Maybe we could have a subplot
Is-
like that.
Is this Jack Frost, but he's knitted this time? Is this Jack Frost too?
Jack Frost 2, you've got to be knitting me.
Man, today is a day of sequels. All right, so this is it. It's now Jack Frost 2.
Okay, Jack
So,
Frost 2.
All right, so Michael Keaton he was a snowman, right?
Yeah,
At the very end, he turns back into a man and he goes to heaven. But
right.
he, God is like, you know what, this isn't your time yet. And he sends him back to Earth to
To
be
be
with
a
his family.
janitor.
But Michael Keaton gets to Earth and he's like, I hate my family. I'm not going back there. And so he's walking through town, and he sees a help wanted sign in the magic store, takes a job. That's the start.
But we have to have
3 startings. We now have 3 startings to this movie.
He
Perfect.
takes the help wanted sign out of the window and hands it to Sardo.
Yeah. No, I think he should. So he walks past like a bakery, and they have a help wanted sign. Oh, we're both going to hate this joke. I hate it already. Gets the help wanted sign. He then picks it out of the window, walks across the street to the magic store, and hands the help wanted sign to Sardo.
Oh, God, yes. Yes. We have to do that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So he's now the janitor. That's it. He gets his job, and that's where Betty White meets Michael Keaton.
Okay.
So I feel like they should have some sort of altercation. Like, they shouldn't like each other, and that's why.
Maybe because she's old and slow and clumsy, she like knocks a bunch of the other magical yarn onto the ground. And some other
she
stuff
should knock like all the magic powders and everything.
Yeah, that he'll have to clean up.
Those are the hardest to clean up, right?
Right.
So
those are the hardest to clean up.
That's his first line of the movie too. So just like Jack Frost, right? He gets turned into a snowman to learn a lesson, right? About
but this time
with
it's
kids
for her to realize no, she's
has dementia. That's it. He's been sent to Earth to be like, you got to get to a nursing home now. Like, this is ridiculous.
You gotta. She has no family to tell her though. That's why.
That's what I mean. So that's why this dementia. Her dementia is going to tell her she has dementia, right? through Michael Keaton as a janitor turned knitted man. It's
the luckiest case of dementia ever.
Yeah, it's a warning. It's a self-warning case of it. All right, so she knocks over the powders. He's super mad. He slaps her, maybe. Who knows? I'll let Michael Keaton run with it in the heat of the moment.
He slaps Betty White in the face.
He's a very passionate actor. I don't know what he's going to do in the heat of the moment. I'm just going to say, have fun with it. That's it.
That's true.
When I'm Rob Reiner directing this, I just realized there's a director on this movie already, so I wouldn't be allowed on set anywhere.
Right. Exactly.
Especially not after the help wanted joke. They're like, oh, get this guy's banned.
We'll just be sitting in the writer's room.
Are we at 23 minutes? Are we at 23 minutes yet? No, we're not. I don't know if we are. I don't know if I'm allowed to start bashing myself yet.
No, you can start.
Okay. Get this loser off my set, says Rob Reiner.
He's like, he's one of the writers.
So yes.
I'll be in my trailer, which is the bathroom at 7-Eleven down the street.
So she buys the yarn, right? She's got to.
Yeah.
And Sardo says, there's like a very interesting thing about this yarn. It's from ancient China. It's traveled a long way and it has magical tendencies, blah, blah, blah.
Magical tendencies.
She doesn't believe it. She just wants to get some yarn and go home.
Can he also say that, like, the ball of yarn actually used to be, like, 10 feet in diameter? Because over the 1,000 years, people have made stuff from this yarn.
Okay, and then he should say, like, and it's okay, here we go, and then he says, like, but there's a warning, anything you knit with this will come true, and then but with a twist. I don't know. I don't know. She knits a man, right? Why is she's looking for something?
It's true, I guess. That's going to be the hard thing to explain. So let's just jump to that point. She gets home, and she realizes that, this is what can happen. Another part of the magical ability of this yarn is that she thinks she's getting to the end, and she's been knitting for hours, but the yarn's still there. It's not ending.
Oh, that's good. I like it.
And now it's changing colors, so it's kind of forcing her to keep knitting.
So this magic yarn is basically a sweatshop owner. It just keeps forcing you to keep working.
Yes.
You don't get breaks. Okay.
Actually,
perfect.
That could be what the curse was initially. It was a sweatshop owner back thousands of years ago who was cursed to be the ball of yarn for eternity.
I love it. That sounds believable. For an Are You Afraid of Dark episode, but it sounds believable.
It's a made-for-TV movie directed by Rob Reiner.
Yeah, his career is really sunk at 2020, right?
Well,
Like,
name
oh,
the
that
last
sucks.
thing he did. I don't know.
Dickie Roberts, former child star. That's the best thing.
Really?
That's the most
Oh
recent. No,
man.
I'm sure he's done more than that, but that's the last thing I can think of. He did an episode of 30 Rock. That's all I can think of.
Well, I'll look it up while we're still going with this.
Okay.
Uh,
So, yes, it's a sweatshop worker who worked all his workers to death. So he gets, cursed to be a ball of yarn that never ends. So he's always being knitted, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. So what does Betty White do when this man is the man? So she knits a full man, not knowing what it's going to be from the beginning, but then it turns out to be a man, right?
Right.
Does it come to life right then as Michael Keaton, or is it Michael Keaton that night
At
gets
night.
turned into the
It's
yarn,
got to be
right?
at night. It's a TV movie.
Yeah, he's like lying in bed, and he's just like, "Oh, I hate old people" or whatever, right? As he's in his 50s, but
I hate old
or
people.
he's in his 60s, and he's just like, "Ugh." He's still thinking about his day, right? He's a janitor. He didn't have anything else happen that day. That was the most interesting thing that happened to him.
I hate old people, but I hate my family more.
Exactly.
The frost from Jack Frost has covered my heart
Yeah.
towards my family.
It's all right. So
Can
then
he live
goes
above
to
the magic shop too?
Oh, he absolutely, or at least in the boiler room or something. He has.
He just
to
has a
live.
cot. He has a cot.
Yeah.
in the boiler room.
Next, yeah. He's Joe Dirt. Second David Spade movie mentioned in like 30 seconds, but he's basically Joe Dirt at the radio station, but at a crappy little magic store.
Side tangent here. Rob Reiner, his last one was "And So It Goes," and that was this year actually. And then "The Magic of Belle Isle" in 2012, "8" in 2012, "Flipped" in 2010, "The Bucket List" in 2007 was his last really.
That was the last one. That's the only one I saw of that too. It was not very good.
Also,
if Michael Keaton was watching that movie, he would be being like, I hate old people. That whole movie, just watching the bucket list groaning the whole time.
Yeah, well, we have to have Rob Reiner cameo in it because it is a Rob Reiner movie. So
absolutely.
He can be the guy who was cursed back in the day.
So it shouldn't even be an ancient curse. It should just be some American businessman who went over to China to start a sweatshop.
Yeah.
In like the 1950s.
Yeah,
That's
like
too early. But either way.
Yeah, in like
no, let's just make Rob Reiner like an ancient Chinese guy.
Sure, why not? Or he just is
like
still Rob
better.
Reiner, but he was in ancient China.
It's
his movie. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, perfect. All right. So ancient Chinese Rob Reiner is the ball of yarn.
Yes.
They're both rotund objects.
So we have two spirits, I guess you'd say, of Michael Keaton and Rob Reiner stuck inside the same ball of yarn.
Yeah.
Dealing with Betty White.
Yeah. So
and
Michael
her dementia.
Yeah. God, there's so many layers. We're like, oh man.
But see, they could relate to each other because he's like gonna be coming across as like schizophrenic, right? Because he's got two personalities inside this yarn. And then we got Betty White, who just doesn't know what's going on anyway. The jokes are boundless.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Well, the bad jokes are boundless. The good jokes are few and far between and very hard to pick up.
They don't exist. Let's just be honest here.
All right, so end of first act has got to be Michael Keaton waking up as the knitted man. Like he goes to bed that night, and when he wakes up, and then it's him obviously, what am I doing in this like nice house? Like where's my cot next to a burning coal fire? Because he's in a steamship now, Steven. Now he's caught in a steamship, apparently. Because why would he be next to a coal stove? Who knows? Let's move on, please.
That's how Sardo powers his shop. Okay, moving on.
Too. The shop is on a coal-powered steamliner.
Yeah, like let's say she just lives in New York and it's just parked in harbor.
I love it. All right, perfect. Way to save my ass there.
Yeah. So she's gotta discover him somehow, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he gets up and he just goes to the breakfast table because he just is hungry for breakfast and he thinks he's woken up. He doesn't realize he's Yarn yet, let's say.
He should have just been like a hard. I know he definitely doesn't know he's Yarn. He's just a hardcore alcoholic at this point because look at his life. He's like, oh, I woke up in someone's house again, right? He's like
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.'s all over it.
Right,
And so he's
exactly.
like, well, I may as well have breakfast while I'm here.
Yeah, so that scene before when he's going to bed in his cot, he should be like super drunk and doesn't know where he is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
It should just be this first scene of Apocalypse Now. It'll just be Michael Keaton naked, like punching a mirror. And then he'll like he'll pass out in his bed saying,
Yeah.
I hate old people.
I hate my family so much.
Yeah. It should just be, so now it should be Michael Keaton should have pictures of his family on the wall with tombstones next to it that say when. He's just like Betty White. That's how they're kindred spirits in a way. She's sad that her family's died. He's mad that his family's alive.
Okay, I have another joke that we need to put in it. So we have to adjust something though. He doesn't sleep in the boiler room. He sleeps in the refrigerated room that keeps like the certain magical stuff cold. And so he's always cold. And it's Jack Frost 2 freezer burn. You've got to be knitting me.
Oh God!
And delete that from this podcast.
Two subtitles.
God. I'm like dropping everything over here.
All right. So there we go. He sleeps in a cot, but there should still be a coal fire, I think, at some point in this. A frozen coal fire in this refrigerator.
Yeah.
We should really move on.
Oh man. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Sardo, but as Mr. Freeze.
Okay. So they just happened to meet Jack Frost, met up with Mr. Freeze.
Well, was that the different Batman?
No, that was Batman.
I know, but was that...
Oh, no, sorry, no. That was George Clooney was with Mr. Freeze.
Oh, okay, never mind that. That would just make no sense at all.
No. Like, do I know you? No, we don't know each other.
Perfect, you're hired.
So we're cutting that out. So.
Yeah, that's not in it. That's completely gone.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger will still play Sardo. I love it. Let's roll with it.
Okay, so Act 2, we have she discovers that he's
the Yarn Man eating breakfast in his house.
But
right?
she's pleasantly surprised. Like, she is not upset about this.
She's that lonely.
Yeah, and so she's like, ooh,
Okay.
company's over. Maybe she doesn't even realize it's the Yarn Man, depending on how good the computer generated.
I forgot that I invited company over, right?
Yeah. Or it's like, maybe because her dementia's kicking in, she thinks it's her grandson.
Okay. So at one point we're going to see a picture of her grandson, and it's going to look just like Michael Keaton, right?
Yeah.
And obviously it's not Michael Keaton.
Right. She just thinks it looks like...
No, it is Michael Keaton. Oh my God, it is Michael Keaton.
Oh, and
because
he
dies in the first Jack Frost. She lost him to a car crash.
Oh, so she's projecting his spirit onto this Yarn Man.
Yeah, I love it. Now,
Okay.
So this is now... Oh my God, there's so many... There's just... I know I already said it, but there's too many layers to this. Now they're all connected, the stories. Somehow it's Jack Frost too, but he knew... Oh my God, my head is hurting.
I think people listening, if they have continued to listen to this point, I applaud them.
Oh my God. Maybe the weirdest one yet, but I'm loving it.
But I say that about everyone that we do.
Yeah, this one's pretty damn weird. Okay,
yeah.
So what's their first interaction like? So yeah, she's happy.
Yeah, so she's like, oh, she calls him by his name, and he's like, what? I haven't been called that name since before I died.
So why doesn't he recognize her?
Because he hates his family and never visited her.
Of course. There we go. Whew, thank God we had already saved ourselves by writing that in.
Yeah. Hating his family has saved the day.
Okay. So he doesn't know her. So he's going to find out later that he's her grandson. Then he will find out later.
Well, yeah, his yarn eyes don't work all that great, so he can't just see immediately.
Fair enough. The
So
science behind that backs that up. That yarn eyes would not see very well.
Okay, how does he
Perfect.
discover his yarn? I just thought of it. So she makes him breakfast, thinking it's her grandson, and he just goes along with it because he's hungover or whatever,
Yeah,
feeling
he's
weird,
definitely
right?
super hungover, and it should be like in the oh my god, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie where they turn into yarn people and they're throwing up yarn. He should throw up yarn right there too. He's so hungover.
Yes. Yeah,
Go, sorry, I cut you off.
I was just thinking, he takes a bite of the food, and he's like, ugh, there's like a hair in this food. And then he pulls it out, but it's a piece of yarn, and he just keeps pulling it out. Okay, this has nothing to do with the story, but it's just,
No, that's perfect. And it's
Okay.
kind of like it all comes full circle again, because it's almost like a magic trick where you keep pulling the ribbon out of your mouth, right?
Right.
Moving on.
Okay, so how do we get to the point where he's realizes that she is having issues? Like, does he?
Well, he still doesn't even realize he's like. So once he figures out he's a yarn person, because he's like, "Oh, what's happening?" Does he then like run to the bathroom mirror and be like, you know, it's like the end of.
Yeah. So he goes to the bathroom mirror and he's like, "Oh, well, I can't show myself in public, right?" So he
my family might find me, right?
Right, exactly.
Also, I'm yarn.
I'm leaving a trail everywhere I go.
Oh god.
And he's unraveling the hatred he has towards his family as he spends more time with his grandmother, who he doesn't know is his grandmother. And so she takes care of him, and it's the first time he's ever felt taken care of, even though he's just an asshole and he's always been taken care of.
Yeah, but he'll warm up. It'll be Jack Frost. That'll be the tagline. Oh, I'm sorry, but either way, I'm saying it now.
Okay.
Jack Frost finally warms up. Done.
With a knitted cap. I don't know.
All right. So.
Okay, well, I already know a scene that should be in Act 3.
Okay, go for it. Oh.
When I know it'll come up later, and we'll use it somehow. But it's just when
if we have a bit more of the ending, we can work our way to it.
Okay, yeah. So he's he stopped hating his family, and he realizes it's his grandma, and that she has dementia, and he really wants her to get help. So he makes sure when she's dying to go get help or whatever. And the last thing is that he's now a human at this point. So he's been turned back because of her. She saved him. Now he's going to try and save her by taking her to the hospital or whatever. And as he's taking her to the hospital, she's like, "It's okay," and hands him a sweater that she knitted. And that's when he breaks down and still doesn't learn his lesson.
I'm sorry. I'm going to be perfectly honest, Steven. I didn't pay attention at all. Because I just kept thinking, she's an old lady. She probably has cats. When is the scene where the yarn guy gets attacked by her cats? And then I totally tuned you out. I was thinking like Jack Frost. He gets peed on by the dog. So when does the cat attack this guy? So I'm going to pretend...
Immediately. It's just like a horrible, horrible scene of events where at that breakfast table.
Yeah.
This is all over the course of one day, too. It's like a 24-hour curse.
Okay.
Say.
So if he just really waited it out rather than trying to do anything, he could have just went back to his life on the New York Harbor Magic Shop steamliner coal-powered boat.
Right. So what we can do, too, to explain everything in a whole bunch of exposition is you have a zoom in on Michael Keaton's yarn face into his yarn eyeball, and then it's inside the yarn head, and everything's made of yarn, and it's Rob Reiner explaining what has happened to Michael Keaton.
So he's just like, shit, I ran out of time, right? And he just explains the movie.
Well, it's a TV movie. They didn't have the budget.
Yeah, okay. All right. So what does Rob Reiner explain? Like, I know This shit is hard to follow right now.
He even shows him in a montage of what happened to him originally in ancient China.
Okay. This movie needs direction quick. Like this. We are at about 40 minutes right now, Steven. We have to wrap this up quickly.
We're not at 40 minutes, are we?
I don't know. Let's not spend our remaining time talking about how much time we got. Sorry. All right.
Though.
So, oh man, this is tough.
So let's just recap here.
Okay.
It's a yarn Michael Keaton who works as a janitor at Sardo's shop.
He's still a person at this point, though.
Yeah, but the old woman, Betty White, buys a ball of yarn that is cursed with Rob Reiner's spirit in it, and she takes it home and knits herself a man out of yarn for some company.
Yeah.
And overnight, the man comes to life, and it's the drunk spirit of Michael Keaton, who hates his family. And it actually turns out that he is the grandson of this old woman. But the yarn Michael Keaton doesn't necessarily look a lot like the real Michael Keaton, so she doesn't really notice.
Yeah.
And then he notices that she's falling into dementia, and he starts to kind of feel bad, but not really. But he knows that he's in a bind because he can't go out in public as a yarn man. And so Rob Reiner explains to him that he just has to prove himself somehow in the next 24 hours that he is worthy of being a real person again. All right, just like Jack Frost.
So I think we should work more than just like Rob Reiner into the explanation. He should just be talking to Michael Keaton the whole way through.
Just like a narrator?
Well, not a narrator, but like, he just... I'm trying to think of a movie where the two characters are in one head or something, but he's just, like Drop Dead Fred. Have you seen Drop Dead Fred?
No, I haven't.
As the imaginary friend.
Oh, yeah, I get the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, Rob Reiner can talk to Michael Keaton. So
right.
You're saying, like, now he's like, you gotta prove yourself or whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. And, so he's trying to find a way how he can help this old lady, but she doesn't do much, so he gets frustrated. And so second act leading into the third act, because it's a TV movie and it's really poorly written. He's just kind of like getting frustrated with her, but then he looks at some of the pictures and he starts recognizing people, but he doesn't want to tell her because she doesn't recognize him, that he knows now that he is a grandson.
Yeah.
And so it starts unraveling, so to speak, for him.
Oh.
I was waiting to use that one.
Oh, God.
And she has no idea what's going on. Like, the whole movie, nothing is going through. This is her Emmy award-winning character.
All right. Because, so, he gives her a sweater. Because he finally, right? That was what you said?
Yeah.
And that's finally something nice. Then it's like $1 Million Baby. He pulls the plug on her.
Yeah.
And then, because even though he was the grandson, so he's finally done something good again, right? Just like last time, he went from being the snowman to, at the very end, he finally makes things right with his family, and he turns back into himself, and then he goes to heaven, he disappears, right?
Right.
So this one, he finally does something nice. So first, even though he was the grandson, and he's dead, the hospital still notifies Michael Keaton's wife and kid, because the kid it would be his great grandma, right? They're the remaining family, so they show up at the hospital, but he still hates his family. So I think it should be the end of the first one, but the second one, he's the yarn person. He magically transforms back to it because he's done something good with his grandma and gives her the sweater. And then they're like, "Oh my God, like Jack," and then he just flips him off, and he goes to heaven. Done. That's the end of the movie.
End of the movie. I like
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna go with that. This is the weirdest one we've done yet.
So
But we
damn
should-
weird, and
We got
so hard to find a direction.
we got to add a disclaimer to this because it's like we say we're coming up with movies in the course of each podcast, but the disclaimer is we never said they were going to be good.
No, definitely. I believe I said it once. We have it. You don't want it. The next episode of Two Idahoan Potato Farmers.
Yeah. Oh man.
So what
We
were our
should just-
taglines? So we have, it could even be someone finally warms the heart of Jack Frost, right? So what's the
Yeah.
title? Oh my God. Jack Frost 2, Freezer Burn, You've Got to Be Knitting Me. Someone
Yes.
finally warmed the heart of Jack Frost.
Yeah.
Do you have a
I
tagline?
like
Do you have
it.
a tagline?
I was going to say oh man. I don't know. I was trying to do something with knit 1 purl 2, but I can't think of anything.
No, that was the best I have.
Yeah, I'm just gonna submit and say that we'll go with yours.
Oh God. Well, winner by default is still a winner, Stephen. So that's the only
Damn
way
it.
I've ever won. That's how I became grad council president. The other guy didn't show up for his speech, Stephen. is-
oh god,
that is
let's end these
100%
people's misery.
100% true. That's how I became grad council president. All right. Well, I
All
think
right.
that concludes this episode.
Definitely.
Goddamn weird.
I like it. I hope that I
It
can
had a
listen
lot of
to
elements
it
that
again.
I truly enjoyed.
Oh man, it can't be worse than the Tom Cruise one that people haven't heard.
I've tuned most of that out of my mind. It doesn't exist. It's on my computer titled "The Lost and Will Always Be Lost" episode.
Perfect. All right, Two Idahoan Potato Farmers. Maybe Jeremy will be back next time.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of tired of that guy.
Me too.
All right, time for the third goodbye here.
'Kay.
Episode over.
Done.
Done.